This is Kelly from Watts the Obsession. Thanks for taking time to watch this video. Please click like and subscribe and hit the bell for future notifications.
So what was it like covering this case with all these random people claiming that they had uncovered something about it?
I've always wondered, what exactly is it about a person that makes a person considered random?
Yeah, Diane, that created a real challenge, right? But the issue is that because authorities weren't saying a lot, there was this information vacuum and it had to be filled, and it ended up being filled with these internet online sleuths with these wild accusations, and it became noise for me.
Some journalists in mainstream media have taken a holier-than-thou stance on the Idaho 4 investigation, or I should say, the investigation into the murders of Kelly Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle, pointing to those of us who talk about this case on YouTube as being people who are just creating noise and have nothing but baseless speculations. Although some people do seem to have a lot of baseless speculations, are the claims of some people in mainstream media that these so-called online sleuths are just creating a lot of noise, are those claims accurate?
You know, Diane, we deal in facts here at ABC, and we're proud of that. And so you just have to ignore that noise. But I think what Maria pointed out so poignantly there is that these accusations that go into the internet, that go into the world, are not without real consequence. And when there's all these tips pouring in and authorities have to create a separate FBI call line just to sift through these, it takes a lot of time away from that investigation.
Those of us following a case under a strict and broad gag order are receiving very little in the way of actual evidence that will be presented at trial to prove the guilt of Bryan Kohberger. Since people close to the case are under a strict and broad gag order, a question that I've asked is, how much do those in the mainstream media really know that the so-called YouTube sleuths do not know, if anything? What we have heard from mainstream media are a lot of statements like a source close to the victims' families or a source close to the case, with no indication then from mainstream media who that source is precisely, not even a hint, no details whatsoever.
A source close to the victims' families has told me that Bethany never, ever emerged from the basement room. Like, she never came upstairs. She left the home and was outside in the chaos in the front of the house, but never did go to that second floor, never did see the carnage. She wasn't part of the discovery of the bodies. She was the only one living in the basement at that point. Dylan, the other surviving roommate, you well know now, was on the second floor, had the room across from the kitchen, opened the door, peeked out and saw who she says looked like Bryan Kohberger with the bushy eyebrows, saw that male all clad in black with a black mask walking out.
Then there was this detail that was reported by Ashley Banfield, and on this airing she brought in Brian Enton and spoke with him, and the caption just said, sources told, these details. Well, according to the sources that I've been talking to for the past 6 months, who are friends of Ethan Chapin, they're Sigma Chi fraternity brothers, only part of this reporting was correct, and there is an erroneous and superfluous detail in there that sensationalizes the story that is not true, and that is that Ethan's best friend Hunter, who arrived on the scene early and was part of the 911 call being made, let's just say that, took Ethan's pulse. Well, according to my sources, who I firmly believe, that was not the case.
But what we haven't known is what happened prior to the first responders arriving on the scene, and tonight I can tell you. You have heard that the 911 call was made from a surviving roommate's cell phone, but we can now tell you who it was who made that call. I'm not going to name the person, but it was Ethan's best friend who made the 911 call, and that's because it was Ethan's best friend who made the discovery of Xana and Ethan's bodies. And that is a very tragic and sad detail to report. Up until now, it had been an assumption that there was maybe an unconscious person because it was a guess that there was someone behind the door who wasn't answering a bedroom door. Now we can tell you that it was Ethan's best friend who had been called over that morning and made the discovery and took Ethan's pulse.
Now, I had made a video about this issue before, and I didn't go into all of the details that I discussed with the two University of Idaho fraternity students because I just didn't feel comfortable with it at the time. But I really just want to make the point here. So there is a trigger warning, and just let me explain to you why we know that was not the case. As it is described in the probable cause affidavit, and here I am reading directly from the probable cause affidavit. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana's driver license and other personal belongings found in the room was Xana Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle's, room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, lying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds determined later, autopsy reports provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner, dated December 15th, to be caused by sharp force injuries. Okay, so here we have a three-dimensional view of the inside of 1122 King Road. And this is from the vantage point of the far side of the living room by where those brown couches are. And if you look all the way down that long hallway, at the end of the hallway with the door open is Xana's bedroom. Off here to the left-hand side is the bathroom door. Now, as described in the PCA, and I'm sorry to have to point this out, but this red circle here is where Xana was found on the floor of the bedroom, which is known as bedroom 2B. So as you walk inside the bedroom, and we see here, this is where Xana was found on the floor of bedroom 2B. And we also know that Ethan was found on the bed. So here, this red circle denotes Ethan was found on the bed in bedroom 2B. So we do know some things about this scene, including, and again, I would like to just emphasize the trigger warning, that there was so much body fluid released in this room that this view from the exterior of the home, where we see this red substance flowing down the foundation of the house, which is believed to be blood, came directly from this room, this bedroom, bedroom 2B, which is Xana's bedroom. Here is a view of the exterior of the home, and you can see that the bed backs up onto this wall, where you could see from the exterior the red substance on the exterior foundation of the home. Here is a closer view of that same image. And here in this picture, the kind of yellow marker denotes where Ethan was found in this room, and the red marker denotes where Xana was found in this room. God rest their sweet souls. And here is another view of that red substance on the exterior foundation of the home. So what do we know, and what is my point here? Well, we know from everything that I just went over that it was a horrific scene in this room. And of course, by all accounts, by the investigators and the coroners, they just corroborate the fact that it was obviously a horrific scene in all the rooms where victims were found. We also know that Xana was essentially found in the entranceway of the bedroom, just past the bathroom and the entranceway of the bedroom, and Ethan was found on the bed. So that would mean for anybody who was first at the scene to take Ethan's pulse, it would mean that they would have to have stepped over Xana, I guess have not taken her pulse, to get to Ethan on the bed. And now remember, all of this scene that's going on around this person who according to Ashley Banfield, took Ethan's pulse. Remember, it was a gruesome scene. So to kind of, get over all of that, to get to Ethan, to take his pulse, I'm sorry, but unless you are a highly medically trained person, which this person was not, I don't think a human being would even be able to do that, given the scene as we know it to be, in order to get to Ethan to take his pulse. So I ask the question, when it comes to mainstream media versus YouTube sleuths, and either one of those groups making baseless speculations about this case or adding sensational details where they simply do not belong, details that did not exist with reality, is one of them or both of them guilty of adding to the chaos? I'll let you make that decision. Please leave a comment and let us know what you think. We all want to know what you think. And let's please just remember the victims of this case: Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kelly Gonsalves, and Madison Mogen. May we find justice for those victims and peace for all of their families.